Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaM Sports Varsity. I'm your host, Frank Langella, joined by my co-host, Marsilio Langella. And Mars is our final show for the Frank's Finest series. For this specific show, we're going to be covering the Independent League. And just because they're not a part of Section 1, that doesn't mean they don't have good football players, good coaching, and some good competition. And, we couldn't thank the support enough that we've gotten from everybody, but we've put in a lot of work, and we're ready to round it off with the independent kids, Mars.
Yeah, man. This show has been really driven to give recognition to the players, whether you're a Section 1 or you're not. There's so many good players out there that it's so difficult to really narrow it down to the list that we have. But, that's just – it has to be that way.
Yeah.
I mentioned this on previous shows. If we can have a list of the top 100 players, we would, right? And at the end of the day, someone's not going to make the list. But this show is fully dedicated to the players and all the accolades that they deserve to get.
Absolutely. These kids deserve to be recognized, and we put a lot of work in to decide these kids. And you mentioned it. These teams in the Independent League, they all have different stories. Some of them are bigger schools. Some of them are smaller schools. Mm-hmm. Some of them, are just trying to get their football programs back on track. It doesn't matter. There's still some good football players, and I'm excited to reveal this list for our audience. And I want to welcome our audience. And if this is the first time that you're watching a Frank's Finest show, well, we're revealing the top players coming for this March season. And again, we did other episodes on the other classes in Section 1, and all those shows can be viewed on our YouTube channel, including this one. You're probably watching it on YouTube right now. So you can watch all these shows on YouTube. Give us a share, subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up on the episode, and give us feedback. We always appreciate all the feedback, whether it's good or bad, on how we can improve our product. And we really do appreciate when the individuals do that, or just talking football.
Yeah.
I mean, we love it when people just reach out to talk football.
Yeah, man. I mean, we love football. You can tell by all the work we put into this. You clearly love football to do this.
Absolutely. And it doesn't matter, big school, small school, it does not matter to us. We love talking ball. And obviously, to wrap it up, we always like to deck out our set. And once we're done with Frank's Finest, we're going to be going to other aspects, talking about the different programs from all the classes. But we want to deck out our set with all the schools that we cover. So anyone who can help us grab any gear, whether it's a coach, fan, anybody, I mean, we're willing to donate money to the program.
Yep.
We just want to get some nice gear, deck out the set. So we would appreciate anyone who can help us out, Mars. But let's dive into it. Let's recognize these young student athletes from the independent schools, Mars. Starting off at the quarterback spot, I'm going with Edgemont's Kirk Giulianardo, the senior. And, this kid at 5'11", 170 pounds, this kid is a bona fide dual-threat quarterback. He's one of the 1,000 club, Mars. That's over 1,000 yards rushing, 1,000 yards passing, 26 touchdowns. This kid is fast at 4.59 40 speed. Once he hits the open field, he's got that see-you-later speed that we've talked about on multiple shows. He's really an explosive runner. I mean, he's more dangerous running the ball than throwing it, but he has that dual-threat aspect where he can make plays with his arm as well. He really is just a bona fide athlete. But when he's back there, throwing it, running it, whatever it is, you always got to keep track of him, even on pass plays, because if there's nothing there, he'll take off, and that's when things get really deadly for a defense. So this kid is extremely impressive. And I also, I like his accuracy. I mean, he has an accurate arm. It might not be the most, explosive arm, might not be the strongest arm, but this kid makes accurate throws, and some throws are, have good anticipation on it. So I really like this kid. He's one of the better players out of the independent league, and he's my winner for the quarterback spot.
Yeah, man, you kind of mentioned a lot of things. The 1,000 club is very impressive in high school. I mean, the 26 touchdowns, and he's a good size for 5'9", 40. And you mentioned dual threat quarterback. I mean, that's such a deadly thing to have in high school. I mean, you really would like to have a guy that can throw it all over the field, but imagine having a guy that has the accuracy and having just this explosive athleticism that could just run himself. And that's something that's really impressive about the guy. And you mentioned the fact that he's an explosive runner, right? If he doesn't see something that's open, he's just going to take off, and he'll just run right past you.
Yeah.
And he's an explosive runner enough that he can run or really show his elusiveness and make people miss. or just run right through wimpy tacklers. And I mean, that I really like that about him. Like, he has that multiple way of hurting you type of mentality, and that's just such a dangerous thing to have on your team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did do a breakdown on Kirk last year, and we'll let the audience see why I think Kirk is a special player. For this video, we're going to talk about number 4, Kirk Giulianardo of Edgemont High School, located right here on the screen. And this kid plays quarterback, wide receiver, safety. He's pretty much, a Swiss Army knife for this team. And he had 26 total touchdowns, over 1,000 yards rushing and passing, which shows you, the ability to hurt you with his legs and with his arms. And when I watch him play, he's a very smooth athlete. He's very explosive and a real slippery guy. He's really hard to tackle. Not a very big guy at 5'10", but I tell you what, he is difficult and he is an explosive player. He's exciting to watch, especially running the football. And for this video, we're going to focus on just the offensive end, the first part at least. And we're going to show a couple of his runs and just show you how electric he is, especially when he gets in the open field. He really knows how to put on the afterburners. Okay, so this first play, I mentioned he's located at the quarterback spot. All right. And what they're going to do is they're going to do a power read. They're actually going to motion this guy. They already have quads to the left. They're going to motion him over. They're going to run a power read. They're going to leave this guy unblocked. Okay, so they're going to be reading him. If he steps out, the quarterback's going to keep it. Okay, and that's exactly what they do. So we'll show it right here. When he hikes the ball, he takes his 2 shuffle steps. He sees that he's stepping out. He's going to keep the ball. He's going to run up the middle. All right, so there he is. He keeps it. Okay, this doesn't look like there's much space. But again, watch him slip through the hole and then watch him show that explosion. Let him slip through. There's the juke, and now watch the speed. Look at that. There he goes. One more time. Again, not much room. He just explodes through the hole. There's the juke. This kid was very electric. It was a good Edgemont team last year. And this kid's one of the big reasons why. All right, let's go to the next play. That is by the goal line. Okay, what they're going to do is they're just going to do a quarterback run to the right. But watch this linebacker right here. He does a really good job shooting the gap. Okay, he almost blows this play up. Look at that. That's a really good job. But again, this is pure athleticism. Watch this. Look at that. 2 guys juke, then he just uses the speed. Sneaks in, touchdown. Let's take another look. Okay, again, quarterback run to the right. Right, the linebacker does a pretty good job, shoots the gap. Again, this is just pure athleticism. Okay, this is what makes this kid special. Right, this play's blown up. It's actually good pursuit from the backside, but then he just makes guys miss. There's 1 guy miss, there's 2 guys, and then here comes the speed. Going to run right around and in for a touchdown. I mean, that's really nice. All right, Mars, let's get to the offensive skill, guys. I'm starting off in Irvington, where our dad was, a head coach long time ago. But Trevor Anico, excuse me, I'm very bad with names. I think we've established this by now for those who watch our shows. But Trevor is the senior, really good football player. This kid had 748 yards rushing, Mars, 6 touchdowns. At 5'9", 190 pounds, not tall, but solid thickness to him. And when I spoke to Coach about him, he's a non-selfish player. He does whatever you ask him. He's a soft-spoken kid. And Coach says this kid has game speed. Maybe not timer speed, but he's got game speed. And I absolutely believe that. I don't think he's going to win any track meets anytime soon. But when he gets on that football field, he has deceptive speed. Where, you don't think he's running that fast, but he starts pulling away from people. And you're like, oh, wow, he's really moving. But what I really like about him, I think his best aspect is his vision. I think he has really good vision. He sees the holes in front of him. He sees the blocks in front of him. And, he does a good job cutting back. He does a good job of letting things develop and making one cut and just going. And this kid is just a very productive football player. Going to the next kid, Mars. This is one of my favorite backs in the league. And I'm going back to Edgemont. Jacob Rosen. I think he's one of the most underrated players. The senior, 5'11", 185 pounds. This kid hits the hole hard. He's a slasher at the running back spot, Mars, with a nice quick juke and a powerful stiff arm. So he has a nice mixture of different ways to beat you. He can run you over. He can run around you. He just shows really good balance running through contact. He also shows the ability to catch the football. This kid, a dual threat guy. He had over 800 yards rushing last year and at 6 foot, 195 pounds. This kid's well built. Moving on, Mars. Let's go to the wide receiver spot. Jackson Morrow of Briarcliff. This kid is a really savvy route runner. He has a large catch radius. I love his hands and his body control. It's the most impressive thing about him. And this is what I love. When wide receivers can make contested catches, that's when somebody is draped on you, that you're covered, that the ball is a 50-50 shot of getting caught, and you come down with it most of the time. To me, that tells you could be a number one receiver. And this kid really shows that. He makes some big-time catches when you watch his tape that you really don't expect him to make. But I think he's a deceptive, he doesn't look like a great athlete, but he is a pretty darn good athlete. He's got a really good body control, like I mentioned. I really like this kid at the wide receiver spot. Another wide receiver is the junior from Briarcliff, Jalen Savage. This kid, multi-sport athlete. He is the dynamite to that offense. So I talked about Jackson's kind of being that, possession, reliable target who made some, big plays in contested catches. Jalen is the explosive guy. I mean, he's a guy who catches the ball and he'll just blow right by you, makes big plays in the passing game. He can beat you deep, he can catch it short, make you miss, and then take off. This kid made some serious wow plays for that offense. Briarcliff had a really explosive offense, and you could see why with some of these weapons coming back. And finally, to round it off, Mars, I'm going back to kind of a wide receiver running back mixture. He's an athlete for them. And that's another junior, Brandon Rispoli of Briarcliff. This kid at 5'8", 155 pounds. I can just tell you, not a big guy, right? But he lines up in the slot. He lines up at running back. Versatile weapon. And again, versatility is a big word for both of us. In the pass game, he's fast, he's quick, he runs solid patterns. And in the run game, he's shifty. The speed translates both in the passing game and in the running game. But he beats you a different way. He beats you with good route running, good catching ability in the pass game, shiftiness, and being slippery in the run game. This kid is just a weapon. And I'm expecting big things from this kid this upcoming season.
Yeah, so I'm going to key off on three players here. The first one's going to be Jacob Rosen out of Edgemont. I think, first off, looking at his stats, 889 rush yards, 10 touchdowns. He has good size, being 6 foot, 195 pounds. He kind of brings it all to the table. I like him being a balanced running back. The fact that he can show his speed, he can show his power. You can clearly see him running the ball really well, but he can also catch the ball very well as well. I like the fact that he's a very explosive runner. He hits the hole hard. Yeah. He makes the wimpy tacklers suffer, and that's what you want in a running back. You want an effective person that can just give you those extra yards at any point in time, and he's very efficient at doing so. The next one's going to be Jackson Morrow of Briarcliff. And you mentioned pure possession receiver. I mean, he is reliable and consistent. Those are the two biggest things that I notice about this guy. I mean, no matter what, you throw the ball up to him, 9 times out of 10, he's catching that thing. And like you mentioned, his catch radius is very impressive. Yeah. He has very good hands, and he always runs good routes every time I watch tape on him. And that's impressive for a high school player to be able to run consistently good routes and be able to catch the ball consistently, right? That I just keep saying that word, consistently, because that's what he is, right? He's that in a nutshell. And I'm going to stick with Briarcliff. Jalen Savage is a very explosive and impressive player. Being a young guy as a junior, a multi-sport athlete, just athleticism, shows you pure athleticism at all times. And I think he could do it all, right? The fact that you mentioned this before, he makes you miss, and oh boy, right? That's it. And he's gonzo. And I think that having both those two dual threat wide receivers, one that's a pure possession receiver and one that is going to show you a show, right? That's a dangerous thing to have it on offense.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go back to the other member of the Briarcliff, dynamic three that they had on the offensive end, and that's Brandon Rispoli. He was a sophomore, just like Jalen Savage, going into his junior year now. I did a breakdown on Brandon last year, and I'm going to let the audience see why I think Brandon is a special athlete. For this video, we're going to talk about number 22, Brandon Rispoli, running back and strong safety for the Briarcliff Hamilton football program right here. Just finished his sophomore campaign last year. Young football player, not an overall big football player, but I tell you what, two things that I see from him right away when you watch his tape. He's shifty and he's versatile. Okay, he's a shifty running back, and I tell you what, he has a really good jump cut. He's got a really good juke. And he has good speed in the open field. Kind of reminds me of like a high school version of Danny Woodhead, for those that are studying the NFL game. But that's the kind of versatility that he brings to me. He has a low center of gravity, and I tell you what, he's one of the better running backs at route running. And that's why they put him out in the slot a bunch of times. And he's also very dangerous in the return game, kick return, punt return. Defensively, I really like his ability as an open field tackler, and he sets the edge well. But we're going to focus on offense, okay? And he's located right here on the screen. Again, what the offense is going to do is they're going to run a bit of a power play. So you're going to get a crash on the end by this tackle right here. You're going to get a kick out by the fullback, and you're just going to see this guard rolling all around trying to get the linebacker. Linebacker does a pretty good job of filling the hole, okay? So you see the linebacker looking at him fill up the B gap. Running back sees that, means he's got to bounce it outside, okay? Watch him. It's a quick juke to the outside, and then you're going to see just him being an athlete, a shifty player, and then the speed. Okay, look at him. Right? He's not a big guy. You can tell by the other play, but look at him. Strong, low center of gravity. Look at him change direction, and now here's the speed. Big chunk play. Right? You see this, too. He was a very dangerous football player for them last year. Good football team. Okay, again. Cut outside. Look at him break the tackle. He's got low center of gravity. He's got some strength, but look at that quick cut. That's good stuff. Another play, look at him located in the slot again, one of the better route runners at the running back spot. What they're going to do is they're going to do a post wheel and try to get a rub route on this guy, which they do a good job of. And here we go with the catch. Okay, look at the nice route. Look at the grab. Beautiful. High points it. That's good stuff right there. Let's watch it again. Again, you know me, I love versatility. He's a very versatile back. They put him in the slot a bunch of times because he can run routes. And this kid is impressive. Again, look at a nice, clean route, not wasted steps. I love that, the high point of the ball. It's good stuff, again. All right, let's go to now his versatility as a kick returner. Okay, dangerous in special teams. Another thing, adds value to you as a player. All three phases in the game. Okay, this kid can hurt you. He's got explosive speed. Shifty guy. Watch him just slip right through right there. Look at the juke, the quick juke, and then it's see you later. Again, let's go back. Really test your pursuit angles of him. Because again, watch the juke right here. Look at that, real quick. See you later. All right, let's show a clip on the defensive side. All right, located right here. Okay, what the offense is going to do, I actually like this. Their trips right. They're going to run a nice combination. Got a post. This guy's going to be stopping right inside the post, nice and short, and then a wheel. Okay, the defense is actually being man. Now, I'm not sure if there was poor communication or not, but they're going to stick into man, and the reason why it's difficult is when they're in a bunch like this, you can get defenders running into each other, and that's exactly what happens. This wheel becomes open, which is going to be the safety's responsibility. But I tell you what, he's got good speed. His athleticism makes up for things that go wrong, and Brandon gets rubbed a little bit, but he makes up for it with his speed, and then he lays a big hit to dislodge the ball. We're going to watch that right here. Okay, there he is pointed. Again, he's got to go over traffic, but the ball, look at the big hit right there. Look at him jar loose. That's just a football player right there. Okay? Again, pretty good call right here, especially in man coverage. Good read by the quarterback. The guy's open. But again, just football players making football plays right there. That's good stuff. I'm excited to see his growth. All right, Mars, let's move to the offensive line. And, you know, you can't have a successful team without winning the battle up front. And so the offensive line is extremely important. And let's stick with Briarcliff. You know, Briarcliff, you know, they were a really explosive offense, and you could see why. This kid, Mizell Davis, the senior, he is returning. And this kid's just a wide kid. He has a really strong base. I like the tenacity that he blocks with. And I think his best attribute is his versatility, Mars. I've seen this kid line up in multiple spots, which shows me he's got good feet and that he's got good football smarts, right? To be able to play multiple spots on the offensive line is important. This kid definitely deserves to be on there. My next offensive lineman, I'm going to Irvington, Justin Kim. This kid at 5'11", 215. He was a 4-year starter when I spoke to Coach. Coach said he dealt with injuries in the past, but he had a really strong junior year. And he did. I mean, this kid is an athletic tackle, Mars. He brings power on contact. He has good speed that allows him to down block and block well at the second level. And he also plays linebacker, so you could tell he's got toughness to him. And you can see that on the offensive end as well. Going back, Briarcliff, again, Connor Gualtieri. This kid, a long athlete who can move his feet. This kid shows promising potential. He does a good job finishing blocks in the run game. but he showed that he's nimble, that he can he can be successful in pass protection as well. I think this kid has a lot of potential. Moving back to Edgemont, Owen Burnside, Mars, toughness. When I watch this kid, that's the big word that comes to me, toughness. He has a very nice first step. He comes out of his stance really well, and he shows solid athleticism. He's not an overpowering figure, but he definitely knows how to seal off defenders, how to turn defenders. He just gets the job done. He's consistent. And, again, we've talked about this. You don't have to be the dominating blocker. Mm-hmm. Again, not everyone's a Division I, 6'5", 300-pound offensive lineman. But you're productive. And if you're consistently productive, you deserve to be recognized. And I think this kid deserves to be on Frank's finest. Wrapping it up, Mars, I'm going to Ossining, Liam Hamilton. Now, this kid is the big guy, right? 6'3", 290 pounds. When I spoke to Coach about him, he says he's very coachable. He's first one at practice, last one to leave. Lead by example, kid. We always love that kind of football player. When I watch him, powerful. Like, this is a powerful kid with heavy hands. We talk about it, those boxer hands. When he gives you a jolt, when he hits you, it stuns defenders. And he knows how to move the line of scrimmage. He knows how to move bodies, whether it's drive blocking or zone blocking. But I also am impressed by being that kind of big guy. He has solid feet. He could pull. He could do trap blocks really well. He hits you on trap blocks. But I think he has good enough feet that he can do long pulls. Right, so he can pull for those sweeps. So I think this kid is a very well-rounded. I think he's the most well-rounded in the independent league on the offensive line position, Mars. Those are my 5. Who do you want to talk about?
So there's 3 offensive linemen I'm going to key in on here. First one's going to be Mizell Davis of Briarcliff, and you kind of mentioned the big word for me is versatility, right? He can do a lot of things for you. The fact that he was moving around positions really shows you a lot. It first off shows you the football smarts that he has, the fact that he can learn multiple positions, and sometimes, well, actually most times, that person is seen to be a leader, right, on the offensive line because being somebody that's played multiple positions. And when I was playing, a lot of times people look around and ask you, hey, what do I do on this play? Right? And I guarantee you he's telling his teammates what to do. But on top of that, I think he has very good feet because he has to play multiple different positions, and I think he does it very well. And I think that he is somebody that's very reliable on the offensive line, and he's going to really get the job done. And that's the important thing about him. The second one's going to be Justin Kim out of Irvington. I really like his speed, and I really like how he does his down blocks and his ability to even get to the second level, right? And I think his speed and his athleticism as being a tackle really attributes to him being very successful this season. And then lastly, I'm going to go with Liam Hamilton, right? Yes. You kind of can't mention the offensive line without mentioning this young man here, because you kind of mentioned this. I think he's the overall best lineman out of the independent league, and I think this is the case because he kind of brings it all to the table. I think when you take a look at his power aspects, like he gives you a shot, right? You mentioned that already, but he also has a lot of athleticism when it comes to his feet, his foot speed. And you mentioned he can do all different types of trap blocking and sweep pulls, and he can do it all, right? I like his ability to be able to get to drive people down the line, and his ability to get to the second level, make it easier, right, for all those backs that are trying to get past, right, to get to the secondary, right? That's the goal, is finding an offensive lineman that can just do it all for you. And his vice grips, I don't even want to get in his way. You know what I mean? So Liam Hamilton, in both of our opinions, probably the best offensive lineman of the independent league.
Yeah, no, I agree with that sentiment. And I did actually a breakdown on Liam last year, and we're going to let the audience see why I think Liam is a special lineman. For this video, we're going to talk about number 54, Liam Hamilton, a left guard and nose guard for Ossining High School. He's located right here on the screen. And this kid listed about 6'3", 270 pounds, nice-sized kid. He's a mauler in the run game. He does a really good job drive blocking, moving the line of scrimmage. He really has the power both in his legs and upper body to jolt defenders. He's a heavy-handed blocker. I mean, he really delivers a punch. And you see when he gets his hands locked in, you can see defenders get jarred back, and that just shows you how powerful his hands are. All right. Another thing that he does a pretty good trap block. Okay, we're going to show a play that he does a trap block. He's really powerful, I mentioned before, and he does a good job lowering his pad level when he's making contact. Finally, when we show this video, I'm going to also show him pulling. Okay, so I mentioned trap block, but we're going to show sweep pulling and his ability to get to the second level, which is not bad. He can work on his agility a little bit, which will definitely help him in blocking the second level. But he does a decent job, and we're going to go over that. Okay, he's at the left guard spot. I'm going to talk about the trap. Okay, he's going to trap this guy right here. You're going to see the power. Watch him move. Watch him lower his pad level. Watch him deliver a punch. Boom. Look at him. Look at the punch and then the drive to finish. That's a good job. One more time. Okay, and watch the initial punch. Okay, a nice little trap right here. Let him lower his pad level and deliver a blow. Okay, let's go to another play. This is him at the left guard spot. I'm going to show a sweep pull now. Okay, he's going to block the linebacker. He's got really powerful hands. Okay, which really drives defenders. Okay, can work on locking and driving his feet a little bit better, but watch him go. Okay, this is a nice smooth pull. I know the play's busted, but look at the power right there. Okay, he really jolts defenders. Again, one more time. Play's busted, but watch his movement. Okay, it's not clunky. That's good stuff right there. Let's go to another play. Okay, same game. Located at the left guard spot. We're going to see his ability to go to the second level. Okay, can work on his agility, like I mentioned previously, right? His side-to-side movement, blocking athletic defenders in space. But I tell you again, he shows the ability to move his feet, and that powerful hands is what the most impressive thing about him. Okay, we're going to talk about it. He's going to try to block this linebacker right here. Watch him go. Okay, he doesn't get locked in, but look at the power. I mean, that punch is strong. It just knocks him right over. One more time. Really heavy-handed player. Look at that punch. Just completely takes him out of the play. Let's go to one more. Okay. Again, left guard spot. You're going to see his ability to now do a combo block. Okay, so they're going to try to move the line of scrimmage. They're going to double on the defensive tackle. The tackle's going to come off to the linebacker. Okay, but he's going to stay on that defensive lineman. He's got to move the line of scrimmage. Okay, I talked about his drive blocking. Watch him go. Watch him lock his hands in and drive his feet. Right? That's a pancake. 5 yards off the ball. One more time. Okay, again, watch him. Right? Gets a nice chip, but then he just finishes the play. It's a great job. Kid's an impressive kid. And Ossining, they're in the independent league this year, and I'm excited to watch him from a distance. But this kid is an impressive kid. I was hoping to see a little bit more when it comes to pass pro, but way high schools run the ball very often, you don't get to see that as often. But I tell you, he has good enough feet at the guard spot that I think he'll be fine in pass pro. But I'm excited to see how this kid grows next year. All right, Mars, moving now to the defense. And we're going to start in the front seven. And I'm going to go back to Edgemont and Dexter Seeley, the senior, 6'1", 205 pounds. This kid had 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. So he loaded up the stat sheet. And, it's not just about stats. What you see on tape, this kid is really solid in both the run and pass game. I really like his motor a lot. He's got a solid mix of speed and strength. And, I've seen him while pass rushing. He got 5 sacks, 14 tackles for loss. He wins with a bull rush. He gets his hands inside. He drives his hips, pushing linemen into the backfield and then disengaging. But he also wins with a good start. So he knows how to beat you more than one way, which is a good thing to have. You always got to have a backup plan or a go-to move and a backup move when you're rushing the passer. And I've seen him win with both. But I've also seen him show the strength. And this is where I see that mix of strength come in, not just on the bull rush, but to anchor down at the point of attack. So when kids try to run right at him, try to isolate him, he shows that he can anchor down and seal off his spot. And that's what I think he's a well-rounded edge player. Moving on, Croton Harmon, Mars, Dan Vara, the senior. This kid, not very tall, 5'10", 220 pounds, though. Strong lower half. He's difficult to move him off his spot. He's just like a boulder. He's stuck into the ground and you can't really move him. He's not the most explosive guy, but what I do really like, he knows how to use his hands. He's very productive in the run game, and he deserves to be recognized. Moving on, I'm going back to Irvington, Mars, Jacob Stein. This kid, when I spoke to Coach about him, the senior, he's a really good athlete, never takes a play off, and he's versatile. And I agree with that. I think he's the best pass rusher among the independent players. He just has a really great start. He knows how to turn the corner, right? So it's not just about exploding at your stance, but you got to be able to bend around the corner, and he does that really well. And he also has a really solid rip move. He also uses his speed to set the edge. So when guys try to run outside of him, he has that athleticism. He has that speed to set the edge. This kid is really, really solid. And in the run game, I do see sometimes that he does get hurt when they kind of just run right at him, don't let his speed take advantage. But I do see times where, he has enough power to hold his own at the point of attack. And that's where I think he'll improve on. Obviously, as he gets stronger, he was a junior. Now we're going into your senior year. You're just going to naturally get stronger and probably in gym strength as well. But I just really like this kid's pass rushing ability. And I think the potential to be a really solid run stopper is there for him. And that's why I think he needs to be recognized. Moving now back to the linebackers, Mars. I'm starting Albertus Magnus, Cody Johnson, honorable mention, all Rockland County. Talked to Coach. He says this kid is a tough kid. And, at 5'10", 170 pounds, when I watch him play, the first thing that comes out is his really solid speed. He shows the ability to set the edge. And he's a really solid tackler in open field. I mean, this kid shows versatility to be in coverage. I've seen him play man coverage. I've seen him drop into zone coverage. I just think this kid is an athletic kid who can do multiple things, and he does a really solid job tackling and defending in open field, and that's why he deserves to be on this list. I'm now moving to Poughkeepsie, Mars, Real Reddiux. I hope I said his name right, but the senior from Poughkeepsie was honorable mention all Poughkeepsie, and this kid's 6'3", 180 pounds, really good height and length, but he's just such a raw athlete. But the mixture of speed and strength that he shows is what really impressed me. I mean, he made some pretty wild plays. He knows how to attack the edge, whether it's stunting off the edge or stopping the sweep. This kid also showed, at times a really high motor. I saw him make plays down the field, like 30 yards down the field, backside. This kid is just raw, and I think that, he's made a bunch of wow plays. I think this kid has a lot of growth in him, and I think he definitely deserves to be recognized on this list. Another linebacker, Mars, Matt Moore from Hastings. This kid was like a linebacker and a D lineman. It's crazy. Like sometimes he would line up as a defensive tackle, sometimes he'd line up at linebacker, and this kid's really explosive. He uses his speed and explosives to be a disruptor when he's blitzing, and this kid just comes really hard, and he causes a lot of penetration. And when he's at the linebacker spot, I really like his range. You see that speed. He's got that sideline-to-sideline speed. And he knows how to finish. I mean, this kid knows how to finish plays, make tackles in open field, make tackles in the backfield, run through, gaps. This kid is an impressive kid, the senior from Hastings, and Matt Moore deserves to be recognized. Finally, to wrap it all off at the linebacker spot, Mars from Ramapo, Jamal Jellicure, the senior, second team all Rockland County at 6'1", 175 pounds. Spoke to Coach about this young man. Great kid, always asking questions. He organized practices during, obviously, this COVID break with kids. He's also a wrestler. And my take on him, I think he has really solid speed and range, Mars. Good length. And when this kid is decisive, when he reads the offense and, he doesn't waste motion, I really like the way he attacks the line of scrimmage. I mean, when this kid, you could tell he's got to continue to grow at reading offenses. But when this kid is decisive, he's one of the better linebackers attacking line of scrimmage. And he's also a really solid finisher. I've also seen him make linemen miss in tight spaces. There's something there. I mean, there's something really there. And I think this kid can really put it together and be a very good linebacker in the independent league, Mark. So that is all my front seven guys. Who do you want to talk about?
So there's three guys I'm going to key in on here. First one's going to be Dexter Steele out of Edgemont. I really like, first off, stat sheet. He's packed, right? There's a lot of stuff you can go here. 14 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries. Yeah. Whoa, that's a lot of stuff there. But I really like his motor. I think he's always pushing. He's always trying to get into the pile up, right? Yes. And I really like that about any defensive player. I really like his strength. He has a mix of good strength and speed. He can bull rush you, or he just blow right past you. But I think he has a very good use of his techniques. Right? I think I like him. Plan. Yeah, he has a plan. He knows what he's doing. He has a good start, and he can drive you, right? Yeah. And that's like the big thing I like to see about my defensive ends is having a plan, knowing your point of attack, and getting it done, right? And that's the big thing I see with him. The next one's gonna be Dan Vara out of Croton Harmon. You mentioned it. He's like a boulder. right? He
Yeah.
just doesn't move. He's like he imposes his will, right? He is trying to be a run stuffer, right?
Yeah.
You can tell that's his game plan, and he excels at it. I think he has good use of his hands,
Yeah.
right? For a big dude, usually when you see these bowling balls, right? Usually they usually just like to run forward like boxes, right? But he likes to use his hands. He knows how to use them, and that's impressive for a big dude like himself. And then lastly, Jamal Jalisser. I think I think I said his name correctly. Jellicure. So I'm sorry about that.
I could be saying it wrong too, so I don't know.
We'll see who's right. But the first thing I noticed, he's a leader, right? That's crucial, especially with all this stuff with COVID going on. Leading practices, making sure everyone's all organized. That's crucial in a time like this.
Yes.
But on top of that, he brings all the crucial aspects of the game, right? The fact that he has good solid length, good speed. And like you mentioned before, when he reads an offense, he attacks the line of scrimmage like no other linebacker can, right?
Yeah.
He imposes his will. He shows that he is a dominant force on the field. And the most important thing is he always makes the play when he's there.
He knows how to finish. Yeah,
he knows how to finish those plays. And I think he is a consistent player in my eyes. And in my opinion, he's probably one of the best of the front seven.
Yep. And, I did a breakdown on Jamal and from Ramapo, and we're going to let the audience see why I think Jamal is a good football player. For this video, we're going to talk about number 4, Jamal Jolicoeur of Ramapo High School, located right here. Linebacker, running back. He was second team All-Rockland County last year. Decent size at 6'1", 180 pounds, long-armed kid. And what impressed me the most, he has really good closing speed. I mean, when he's attacking the line of scrimmage consistently, he is one of the more disruptive guys in the run game. All right. And a couple things, that he can definitely work on is disengaging blocks. I think that's more of a strength thing. And when he builds up his body more, puts on some more weight, I think that will alleviate that issue. And the only other thing I could see, because, this kid, he really is looking to attack the line of scrimmage, just needs to be more consistent. Sometimes I've seen him moving sideways. You want to see a guy going north and south most of the time. You really want to see young linebackers go sideways, which often seems to be an issue. So working on that consistency will definitely help. But this kid's an impressive kid, and we're going to go over a couple plays. I mentioned he's located right there. What they're going to do, this is a combo read, okay? Now, those who don't know, it means these two linebackers are reading these two backs, okay? And you always want to read a flow read to a lineman. So he's going to see this guy step up towards the center and bail out to the defense's left. He's going to see a lineman pull. That, to me, is showing that, hey, this is flow away. And that's going to see him. Watch him shoot the gap. Okay, he's going to read it, shoot the gap, and watch the closing speed. Again, he's backside. So watch the closing speed. Look at him. No wasted steps, and look at him finish that play. Okay, one more time. Look at him. Read step, and then shoot the gap and make a play. Solo tackle. That's good. Again, another play is located right here. Similar flow rate away. Okay. Running back's going to flow away. He's going to see his guard pull. That's an indicator that I got to shoot the away gap. And he does that. Okay, watch the closing speed. Look at it. No wasted steps. When he's consistent like this, he's very disruptive. One more time. Again. That's a really good job. Let's go to another play. Right, here is located again. Again, similar read to before. But backside. Okay, again. Run this way. His guard's pulling. Means I have to flow away. Okay. And the linebackers who do this the quickest, who process run plays, flow read to linemen, the best and quickest, most efficiently, are usually the most productive linebackers. Again, look at them. Look at the flow, and look at, again, solo tackle in the hole. All right? You're not seeing much help. He gets there first, and he makes the play. It's good stuff. What I also like about this kid is that he makes plays in more than one phase of the game. And special teams as well. Okay? As a gunner. As they kick it off, you're going to see him. Okay, he's going to come into the screen. Look at it right here. Watch what he does. Look at him blow past the blockers. He threw the blocker into the running back. And then finishes off the play. One more time from the top. Again, love kids who make plays in more than one phase. And this kid can help a team out in special teams. And look, not afraid. Look, he's one of the first ones down. Look at him just blow past blockers, blow up that one blocker, and then finish off the play. It's good stuff. All right, Mars, let's move now to the DBs and kickers and round it out. I'm going to start in Edgemont, and we spoke about this young man already, but Kirk Leonardo, the senior, this kid, a really talented quarterback, but I think he's even a better safety. And this kid had 5 interceptions last year. He's just really well-rounded. I think he can play the single high safety. He can play in the slot and play man-to-man. He's rangy. We mentioned his speed previously, but I also think he has good awareness, both playing man and playing zone. He's also very productive in the run game. He's aggressive. He's a good open field tackler. This kid is possibly, and I can argue that he is the best secondary player in the independent league. Moving on to another defensive back, Mars, in Briarcliff. We mentioned this young man as well, Jalen Savage, the junior. Again, he's one of the better athletes of all the kids we've talked about. This kid has, he's fluid. He has all the tools to be a good man-to-man guy and a zone guy. And obviously, if this kid forces a turnover, he has that speed to take it the other direction. Moving on to Hastings, Mars, Chris Rotterordi, the senior. This kid, good two-way player, but I'm putting him at the defensive back spot. He had 3 interceptions last year. Solid-sized kid at 6 foot, 175 pounds, a multi-sport athlete. I think he's actually a pretty darn good basketball player, but this kid's got solid size. He plays really good off coverage. I like his ability to read routes, attack the football, and he's not afraid of being involved in the run game either. So this kid, another impressive kid. I think he's an underrated football player. Finally, to wrap it all up in the defensive back spot, Mars, Jay Tinsley from Peekskill. Now, when I spoke to Coach, he told me this kid is an athletic freak, and at 6'1", 170 pounds, you see it. He's super raw, but the tools are all there to be a lockdown corner. He's got good size, good speed. I think he really could develop into a real solid man-to-man football player. And, when you see this kid, when you watch this kid, you see that athleticism, Mars. So those are the DBs, Mars. Before we get to the kicker, is there anything you want to discuss?
Yeah, probably the most impactful and probably most impressive is Kirk Leonardo. I think he is really a well-rounded safety, as you mentioned before. He can play man. He can play man on the slot. He can play high safety. He can rob for you. I think he does it all. And on top of that, for most secondary guys, the fact that he likes to come up for the run and make the play, that's just great. For any secondary player. I know you're a secondary guy and you like to come for the run, but just to see a secondary guy that comes up and is aggressive is a great thing to see.
Absolutely. And Mars, let's round it off at the kicker spot now. I'm going with Irvington's Morgan Balkin, the sophomore. Talk about making an impression as a freshman kicking on Irvington's football team. This kid was 18 of 23 on PAT attempts. When I spoke to Coach about him, they're going to put a lot more on his plate. This was a very young football player kicking for them last year, and Coach says he's going to put him in there, kickoff, punts, field goals. He's going to do the whole thing. This kid has the leg to kick 50-yard field goals, and Coach really believes he can kick at the next level. And you could see that talent that this kid has. Really young, but I think he could really solidify himself as the top kicker in the independent league this upcoming season. I think he has a really good chance of doing that, Mars.
Yeah, you kind of mentioned everything here. The fact that Coach believes so much into him really tells you a lot, right? He's going to do all these different things like punts, field goals, kickoffs, and he's just a sophomore, right? And I think I could see him kicking in the next level if he continues to grow as a kicker and consistently do well. The sky's the limit for this kid. That's my input here.
Absolutely. And so that is our list, Mars. The Frank's Finest has been completed. Those independent kids that we've listed from all those schools definitely deserve to be recognized. Mm-hmm. And, these are good football players. Again, there's big schools, there's small schools, there's different stories about different programs. There's good football players in the area if you go and look. And I think, the kids that we recognize, it was really tough. It was really tough to come up with all the kids in all these classes, but we put in a lot of work, a lot of hours spent, and I think those kids deserved to be recognized. And I think we made the right choice. I know some people feel snubbed, But again, if it motivates you to play better this upcoming season,
listen,
absolutely.
It's easy to find your picture and put it on their locker, right? It's so easy to do that. And Frank, it's a milestone for sure, getting another Frank's Finest completed.
Yes.
And now it's on to
the programs. Yes.
And that's going to be a great string of shows. And I'm looking forward to doing those. But hey, man, it's a good start. Let's keep this ball rolling. Let's keep this momentum rolling.
Football's coming, baby.
Football's coming.
Yeah, and we want to thank everyone for tuning into the show. Again, you can check out all our shows on YouTube. Give us a follow. Give us a follow on Twitter, a follow on Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up on the show and give us feedback as always. But we want to thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you all very soon.